going to open this to the floor to ask your questions. And I just received one question coming in for Angelo. Oh. Yes, and the question is this. It is becoming more common in recent times for employees to spend X number of years, usually 2 to 4 in the job, and then move on to a new job. Even with alignment of values, you will still get high attrition. What is your comment? Yeah, that's in front of you.
Cool, that's an absolutely excellent question. Along with alignment of values and cultural transformation, another very big trend that's happening in the marketplace is collaboration. Since globalization, some companies are now deciding that the pie is big enough for us to share rather than all us trying to keep to ourselves. Collaboration has become, I don't know who asked the questions, I don't even know where to look, I'm sorry. Collaboration has become one of the most important elements of the business plans of the future. Collaborating with companies to become like that. So if people want to leave, and their values in alignment, they believe in the vision, they believe in what's going to happen, and they want to leave, one of the key factors is remaining in a really strong relationship with them to be able to put them where they want to go. And chances are, if they have grown with you, if they have got value from you, then they might just come back. And I think Z, this is a very good question for Z because he actually does that in his company. Can I get you to comment just really quick on that, because he's a real expert in this thing.
How the team going to grow? I mean, I'm sure this person must be saying that if the management had a certain fixation or a certain idea that doesn't allow creativity and innovation, right? How can a company grow? So I guess what she's asking is, can you teach her how to remove the management?
I'm really glad you asked that question. We try as best as possible not to remove people. Okay, companies don't change, people do. And people can change. Very often times we act in a certain way because that's the way we've been conditioned. And I've encountered that mostly in Hong Kong, when we were doing work with companies in Hong Kong. The elder generation would not change. This is how things are. And they wouldn't make decisions to change either because they were fearful of what might happen. They didn't have the experience for that to happen. So one of the key factors you need to create this tangible change is data. If you can provide the data that doing things this way is going to get us here, doing things that way is going to get us there, chances are 90% of the people will come on board with you. Okay? We make the best decisions we possibly can based on the information that we have. So if we're not making the right decisions, we need to change the information that we have. One of the most powerful things, and that's why I'm really glad you guys mentioned about coaching very often, is finding out what options are available. In my company and with the people I collaborate with, we use a tool which measures culture, which measures the values in the organization to see where we are aligned. What are the personal values of the people in the organization? What are the perceived cultural values that exist in the organization? And what are the desired cultures, or desired values that they want to see in the organization? And once you can see the alignment or misalignment, you now have a roadmap of how you want to get to where we want to go to. And then you get your leadership team together and say, guys, that's where we want to go. And as Andrew mentioned at his speech earlier, it starts from the top, it starts from the leader, it starts from the CEO. They are the ones that are going to set the tone and say, you know, this is happening. Either you're on board or you're not. Now, if you're below the leader who is who doesn't want to change their, I'm sorry, what's the question that you, part of the question? If the leader, if the manager?
The leader doesn't want to change, or if the top,
okay.
The manager doesn't want to change.
Okay, if the manager doesn't want to change. If you're below the management, it's really hard to change the people above you. One of the ways that has been effective, 50-50, is being the example of the change that you want to see in the organization. When I first started off as a trainer and a speaker and a coach, I started off as a John Maxwell certified coach and speaker. And he says, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And influence is a result of adding value to people. So if you can show the organization how you can add value, people will start following your example. You'll be able to influence them. If you can influence them, you can lead them. And then they'll see that that example is working and follow that. I hope that answers your
So
question.
there's another a very similar question, Angelo, is what if the culture of the upper management somehow doesn't trickle down to the middle management? What if it is the middle management who refuses to change the culture and mindset instead of the millennials?
I'm so happy you asked that. That's what we get most of the time. There's this huge disconnect between the senior management and the lower management, and that's what needs to be examined, and that's why this tool is so powerful, because anonymous, we get into an organization, and these things get so illuminated. And we were talking about technology earlier, about how technology is coming in that's like a microscope of all these problems that are happening. And when the tide goes down, you see who's been swimming with their underwear. This is what the tool does. It's anonymous. All the employees will fill in this a questionnaire about the values and what's going on, and it becomes very evident as to who is causing what within the organization and where these deficits are, and where these this attrition that's happening in the organization. That's one of the biggest problems, and that's what has to start from the top. Because fortunately, unfortunately, I'm not trying to be mean or nasty, but sometimes people are just not in the line. The way we've seen people get promoted over the years is you're a really good accountant, you get to be made senior accountant. But that's not a people skill. That's a work skill. Okay, and that's where the problems occur, because we have not learned, not been trained, or do not have the natural inclination or the tendency to be a leader in that field, even though you are very good at the job you are doing, at the skill that you have. So this mindset needs to change. Really good accountants need to be really good accountants. Really good leaders might not be really good accountants, but they're really good at influencing other people and inspiring them and motivating them. So this starts at the hiring stage, but it also starts as a culture, foundation and model to operate. Now, if you're below these managers, because that's what I get very often when I do training for organizations, like, yes, but my manager like this, but the senior manager says this thing, but when it actually comes to implementation, nothing actually happens because the manager won't do it. It has to start at the top. It has to start at the top. So if there's some way for us to influence those people, that would be amazing. If not, I'm afraid to say you might need to find an organization that's a bit more aligned with the values that you have. Okay. I'm very glad you brought this up, because I'm sure many people might be thinking exactly the same thing about how things work. Yes, the market is changing, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
If you don't change with it, you will ultimately die. Okay, there's a law of nature. Whatever's not growing is dying. Okay. When we talk about culture and values, is creating alignment with what you believe and where you're going with the people that are with you. Okay, now you know you have to change. You know things have to get better. You know things have to be that way. What my talk was on earlier is that seeing the people behind the position, seeing the people behind the title, seeing the people behind the face that you see, but it also works in both ways. If people have been with you for a very long time, it means they're loyal. They're very loyal, they're trustworthy, but they have become comfortable in where they are, and they're scared. So your issue becomes more of a, how do I motivate them to come along with me to the next level? Am I understanding you correctly? I want to change, I want to get better, I want to be ahead of the market, or at least keep up with how the market trends are going. How do I get them to come along with me?
Yes.
The,
But you see, they feel that. I think my colleagues has been very, actually during the past 21 years, they are still very comfortable with that kind of old ways of doing it, and they don't understand why I have to go digital. So they are very afraid of, I think a lot of, some of my colleagues really, I really keep on telling them, digital is not about digitalizing and removing people. So their concern is about all this, you see. So actually I told them it's actually increase of productivity, and the government is saying it's true, because we're going to rely less on labels.
okay, I'm very glad you brought that up. I'm respectful of the time that we have, because we don't have a lot of time. I want to reply you real quickly. I believe the fear they have is they feel they're going to be replaced by digitalization, fear of the AI. So that's why they're scared. I want to keep my job.
True.
It is the truth if they don't change either.
A whole chunk of the data, whatever, is a fact.
Okay. My expertise is on values and cultural transformation, and I think this is the man about how technology is disrupting.
Well, no, I was just going to ask a show of hands in the room. Who loves change? Who likes change? Liars! and that's the truth of it. That's the truth of the matter. We sit at conferences like this and we say, like, who likes change? Oh yes, change. I read it in the paper yesterday. We are behaviourally coded to reject change. All of us. We will always do what we... So for example, you go into a car park, you park your car, you've got free car parking, but you always like to park over in the left-hand corner, because that's my car parking space. You go to the restaurant, you look through the menu, oh, there's so many different pages here. You always end up with tagliatelle Alfredo, because you love tagliatelle Alfredo. We all are coded to do what we did yesterday. And so a lot of frontline leaders are actually faced now with a massive amount of change. If you're the head of a company, if you're the executive team, you've got a vested interest to embrace that change, because you get your bonuses, it's about survival, you're involved on the change curve, you're involved in a lot of those exploratory decisions earlier on. If you're a frontline leader, a lot of the time, you're not involved in those conversations, and yet you have to bear the brunt.
That was pretty good. Okay, I'm hoping to offer just a bit of encouragement. As was brought to our attention earlier, generally there is a lot of fear. The market's going to change, we need to change, we need to get with it. Please allow me to encourage you guys. Out of all of the SMEs in Singapore, you guys are here. There's constant searching, there's constant looking to improve, to learn more, to meet more people, to get there, is what's going to keep you ahead of the rest. It's going to keep you competitive, it's going to keep you relevant. So just keep doing what you're doing, but also leverage on where you are. Just in this room, what, 100, 200 people in this room? The combined knowledge and experience that you have within each other is invaluable. Absolutely invaluable. My business exploded the moment I started partnering with people pretty much in the same industry that I was, but as we said about focus, I'm focused on this. If you come to me and you say, I want to do change management, I want to do, okay, wonderful, come to me, I have my partner who can take care of that for you. That collaboration, that partnership is really, really powerful. If you guys have got a network as SMEs, and by the way, SMEs, I think it's the Trade Coalition that gave me the information in Singapore, SMEs account for almost 70% of the GDP in Singapore. So don't assume that the MNCs have got all the power. You guys have got all the power. And there are organizations like Trade Coalition and Singapore Chinese Chamber of Commerce that are trying to influence laws to be in your favor because you guys have the power. Leverage that. Leverage that. I am so proud that you guys asked us to come here today. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I really sincerely hope to see you guys at more events like this. But keep doing that because that's what's putting you ahead of everybody else. Thank you.